The flag of the United Kingdom has flown over the capital of Scotland for many years, representing a worldwide symbol of a 3-century-long union. But come autumn 2014, these colours may very well be lowered, and instead the St Andrew's flag, which flies in the shadow of the Union Jack, could be raised, representing the end of a battle of separation and the emergence of a potentially fully independent Scotland onto the world stage. But with First Minister Alex Salmond facing stern opposition, what role can the significant Asian community play on the political process in Scotland and the quest for independence?
And First Minister Alex Salmond drew comparisons between the experiences of separation of many of Scotland's first generation of Asians to that of the Nationalist Party's path to independence. A link the party believe is why many Asian Scots will vote in favour of the SNP's referendum.
If we had a franchise which said, right, Asian Scots vote, then we'd have a referendum tomorrow. A lot of people in the Asian community have a first, second or third hand experience of independence struggles. And that of course familiarises people with it as well. But I'll tell you what the reason I think above all, I believe the Asian community in Scotland is the most patriotic community in the country.
However, the deputy leader of the Scottish Labour Party, Anas Sarwar, was quick to rebuff and criticise the First Minister's comments, linking the struggle and eventual separation between Pakistan and India to that of Scotland's fight for separation from the rest of the United Kingdom.
Scotland is not the last state of the great British Empire that some people have tried to claim. It's not a battle similar to the freedom struggles of India and Pakistan that some people have tried to claim. I think it's an insult to claim this so-called freedom struggle with that in India and Pakistan, where some of our family members lost their lives in that struggle. We're not oppressed in Scotland. We have independent human beings, but we are an interdependent country. But the challenge is representation without power is nothing. And the challenge for us is, yes, let's get equal representation, absolutely. But let's use it to do some good, not just for Scotland, but for the whole world.
The engagement of ethnic minorities has become more visible in the halls of Holyrood with the emergence of young and ambitious politicians, amongst them being what the SNP and sections of the media have labelled as the rising star in Scottish politics, the recently elected SNP MSP Humza Yousaf.
Independence because it's to do with flag-waving, kilt-wearing, haggis-eating, romanticised nationalist, braveheart nationalism. Okay, these are all things I quite like doing. Incidentally, sometimes at the same time.
The reason why Scots Asians have managed to integrate and assimilate so well here in Scotland is the fact that they've never had to choose one identity over the other. So what you've got in some parts, for example, and when I speak to colleagues in East London, they're always asked, are you British or are you Bangladeshi? Are you English or are you Muslim? Scotland, I've never been asked that question. Nobody that I know has ever been asked that question. Where does your loyalty lie?
Moving on to independence, in Parliament there are members from the Asian Pakistani community on either side of the debate on for and against independence. Was it firstly as a politician, which makes you argue for an independent Scotland, and then from an Asian perspective and an MSP for an independent Scotland?
I suppose it's at its most simple, at its most basic, at its most fundamental. Independence is about all the decisions in and around Scotland. All the decisions about Scotland are best made by those who care the most about the interests of Scotland, and that is the people of Scotland.
But it all had to begin somewhere. While the Asian community has been politically active for many years, the real breakthrough and significant step acting as a catalyst for Asian participation on the political process was with the emergence of Bashir Ahmed.
It was here, back in 2007, in the halls of Holyrood, that Scotland made proud history with the appointment of the nation's first Asian and Muslim MSP. The late Bashir Ahmed, a prominent and highly respected member of not only his community, but also Scottish Parliament, once said that the lack of any Asian or ethnic minority voice in the Scottish Parliament has been felt deeply in my community. And since those words were uttered, Scotland has produced a crop of highly talented politicians and councillors from ethnic minority backgrounds. With First Minister Alex Salmond also acknowledging the role that the Asian population has played thus far on Scottish politics, but also the significant part they have to play as Scotland drives towards the vote on independence.
I was so delighted when Bashir was elected in 2007, because he was the first Asian MSP. And now we have Humza Yousaf, who was very much a protege of Bashir's, but also Hans Ala Malik, two Asian MSPs in the Parliament. Now the Scottish Parliament can genuinely say it's a real Parliament. It's a real representative parliament, and it represents the communities of Scotland.
You know, Bashir Ahmad was great at this. Not only, he was only in the Scottish Parliament a very brief time, 2 and a bit years, and yet he brought in, throngs of people that involved in the political process after him. Now, as soon as I got elected, just a couple of days after, I remember somebody asking me or telling me, now you need to start looking for your successor, or who's going to come in after you. And that's an important job, we have to carry on that process if we want to maintain and continue to be influential in the politics of this country, in which we absolutely should be.
However, the Asian community's integration into society and embracing of the culture has not come without barriers. Yet, when faced with such critical incidents, it has been through politics that the Scottish people emerged united rather than divided.
The Asian community have embraced the saltire is very, very important. And we've seen that at moments of pressure. If you take the Glasgow airport attack just a few years ago, I went to the mosque, the central mosque, on the day after the atrocity, well, not atrocity, but the outrage. And I said, look, the perpetrators we know were not part of the Asian community of Scotland. I also remember that one of the things that happened, there was a march organised in communities against terrorism in George Square, and there was a picture of a young Asian lad draped in a saltire, which was so impressive that we put it on display in the welcome signs at Glasgow Airport. They say a picture can communicate 1,000 words. That picture communicated 100,000 words.
And as the Asian community attempts to mould and shape the next set of politicians, how do the second and third generation of the Asian migrants feel that the political process has connected with them, and also how their very own politicians have interacted and encouraged them to engage with the political process in Scotland?
I think they're doing a lot, but I think they can still do more to engage with the youth.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Hamza Yusuf is definitely more in tune with the younger generation, being on Facebook and Twitter and online. He's definitely kind of making advantage of the different platforms available to him to engage with the youth, and I think the youth are engaging back with that in a really positive way. But I think more at kind of a grassroots level, in the public, in the community, really get out there and just really engage with the youth.
The Asian community in Scotland has established many businesses around the region and moved into many professions, highlighting one of the key skills the migrant community brought with them. But how will big businesses be affected by the possibility of an independent Scotland?
First thing, a little bit of trepidation, obviously, because we're in a settled country at the moment, and to go into something entirely new is obviously involves a certain amount of uncertainty, and there's one thing business people don't like is uncertainty. The other thing is, obviously, there's a certain amount of, we hope it'll be good, in the sense that, obviously, with your own country, you'll be able to do things more from a local perspective, which sometimes, obviously, we feel that Westminster doesn't always get the regional policy right.
And perhaps when we've spoken of independence, we've assumed that everyone else knew exactly what we meant. Well, should there be any doubt? What I mean by independence is the profound right to enjoy the same equality of opportunity, to live in more equal communities. What I mean by independence is jobs, to protect them, to create them. Is this a grand dream? Yeah. But that's the difference between us and the other.
I don't think it does. Everything's just going to go up. Taxes, fuel, everything's going to go up. We're struggling as it is in this recession.
We should give him a go. I think we should vote for him.
No, I don't think we should. We're struggling already in the UK. We're going to struggle even more with being just Scotland.
The Asian Scots have become an intrinsic part of the colourful fabric of this country's tartan. And as Alex Salmon fights for his wee bit hill and glen, will the Asian community be part of the SNP's fight for separation, or choose instead to back Prime Minister David Cameron's promise to strengthen the bond of the Union? However small the Asian community may be in Scotland, their political influence and awareness is key to the direction this country takes as it reaches the crossroads. The community of the Crescent has proudly adopted the Thistle and has begun to leave a visible mark on the political process in Scotland, and will possess a strong voice for many years to come. This is Ahmed Asif reporting from Edinburgh.